Hey everybody, I am back. I have my phone here. I'm just looking at it to make sure I have it where I need it to be. I wanted to talk about something I know that a lot of people that apply to jobs don't realize they're being assessed for when they talk to recruiters and or hiring managers, and that's soft skills. And this is something that came up in a workshop that I conduct on the weekends. If you're interested in attending, put a link below. But it was a question that was asked, another question, because I talked about another question in another video, that was asked about soft skills. How do you put that on a resume? I'm going to put a link here to my resume video if you haven't checked that out. But she asked about how do you put that on a resume? And you can't necessarily put soft skills on a resume. And soft skills basically is something that you can learn. And what soft skills are is basically human skills, right? It's not a term that I really care for because it's what we use every day. It's not a skill that companies look for. It's what you use every day. It's communicating. It's how you show up in interviews and meetings and when you're networking and when you're talking. It's your body language. It's your presence. It's how people perceive you. These are soft skills. And I looked at a study that was done, and I'm reading from my phone, and it was done with talent acquisition managers, recruiting managers, a fancy term for recruiting managers, and hiring managers. And there were about 5,000 of them, and it says that it's a LinkedIn research, and it says it clearly points out that while hiring managers always look for technical skills and job experience, it is the soft skills that drive success. 92% of respondents say soft skills are more important than technical skills, and 89% told us that the bad hires, this is important, the bad hires typically lack soft skills. So, is it important? It absolutely is. Are you being assessed? Even though it's not on the job description, you absolutely are. So when I call you as a recruiter, or any recruiter for that matter, when they call you, they're listening for how you communicate. They're listening for how you put together your responses to their questions, how you formulate your responses. Do you dive deep? Do you expound? Do you have your responses set up in a way that is easily understood? Would a hiring manager be able to put you in front of a client? Would they feel comfortable doing so? So you definitely want to hone your soft skills and ensure that you can present yourselves well when you're speaking to a recruiter over the phone, and then definitely in front of a hiring manager, because the hiring manager will definitely be assessing you when you're in the interview. Are you polished? Are you professional? Do you have that boardroom presence? Do you communicate well? Can I understand what you're trying to convey? And these are things that you can definitely learn. And sometimes it may take practice. Like although I'm a recruiter and I've been a recruiter for years and years, I used to hate going on interviews. I don't like it. I never have. But I would practice my responses in a mirror. I looked at my body language. I made sure I made eye contact. I spoke slowly so I could get everything out, because sometimes my brain goes faster than the words that I want to get out. So I understand, and I get how some of you may feel, but rest assured, you are being assessed by both the hiring manager and the recruiter when they reach out to you. Now, this article also goes on to say that it is hard to assess soft skills, right? It's hard to know if if Kelly is going to mesh well with my team. Is she going to be a team player? Is she going to work collaboratively with other teams that we sometimes have to work with? that is hard to assess. It's hard to gauge from a resume. And sometimes it's even hard to gauge in an interview. So, in order to set yourselves apart from other candidates that have applied to this position, when you get in front of a hiring manager or when you're talking to a recruiter, you bring it up. You talk about how you collaborated with your teammates on a specific project, and how you either stood out as a leader, and how you were able to talk to your leadership team, or you got selected to work on a special project because of how well you communicated or conveyed something. So you can be you can initiate that conversation just to showcase that you do have soft skills, that this is something that you have already in you, that they don't have to try to assess and gauge, and that you're comfortable, you're confident, and that you are the expert in your field. So whenever a recruiter calls you, you can talk about that in one of your responses. Just feel free to bring that up. Show how you elaborate and how you expound on some of your responses when she asks you a question, she or he asks you a question. That is a way for you to showcase your soft skills. I wanted to also just list them for you, just so you'll know what they are. And if I can't find it here quickly, I'll go ahead and I'll put it in the description, the different soft skills that they say that you should have when working for an organization. But here they are. So it says the LinkedIn research discovered the 5 most important soft skills in demand today. And this was done 2019. I want to say February 2019. And the 5 skills are creativity, persuasion, collaboration, as I mentioned, adaptability, and time management. So all of these can easily be included in your conversation. Creativity, you can talk about how you creatively came up with a process, or how you creatively thought outside the box. And you don't have to say creatively, but you can share that, because that shows your creativity. And you want to do that mainly in front of a hiring manager, because recruiter is going to be there just to pre-screen you, just to make sure you match what the job description says. And if you want to learn more about how to get in front of a hiring manager, check out this video here. I talk about how to get your resume in front of a hiring manager. But back to these soft skills. The other one is persuasion. You can show your ability to persuade your teammates or your manager that you worked for in a certain situation. You can showcase that without saying it. You can just share that as one of your examples. You can throw that in there. The other one is collaboration. I mentioned that earlier. Talk about how you collaborate with your teammates, or if you had to collaborate with another department or business unit. Adaptability. These are regularly changing times. We all have to be adaptable in some shape or form, right? Everyone needs to be agile. You can say how there were a lot of changes in your organization, if that's the case, and how you had to move to another team, and how you were able to ramp up quickly. Those are some of the things they like to hear. And then lastly, it talks about time management, how you prioritize your work, and what your day looks like, and how you respond back to people in a timely fashion. So you can talk about these things in your conversation with the recruiter or the hiring manager. So I just wanted to share a little bit about this article, and I will link it below. I had trouble pulling it up. I found it from an email. I sent it to myself, but I had trouble pulling it up. But if I can, I will link it so you can read the entire article. I'll link it below. And I hope this was helpful. If it was, please let me know. Please leave a comment and let me know how you've used your soft skills. And if you've heard that term before, again, I like to call it human skills, because I believe that all of these things you use every day in just your regular day-to-day life. So if these are skills that you've used or you've heard about soft skills, please let me know and share with us how you've used them throughout your work history and experience. Okay, and I'll see you in the next video.